Welcome to the Living to 100 Club podcast. Here's our host, Dr. Joseph Casciani.
Hello and welcome. You're listening to the Living to 100 Club podcast, where we explore the upsides of aging. I'm your host, Dr. Joe Casciani. In my programs, I talk with experts and thought leaders about how to stay positive, resilient, and purposeful. Because growing older isn't about adding years, it's about making those years count. This podcast is part of my broader Living to 100 network, which brings together three core pillars: these conversations and blogs, a growing collection of practical tools and learning resources like my card decks and other products designed for individuals, families, and senior living settings, and my Living to 100 community, which is a space to connect, share insights, and support one another on the journey. You can explore it all at my living2100.club, living2100.solutions, and living2100.community. Thanks for joining me as we focus on living better, longer, and happier. Let's get started with today's guest. Hormone balance plays a central role in how we age, influencing energy, mood, sleep, strength, cognitive clarity, and overall vitality. In this episode, I speak with Dr. Prudence Hall, a gynecologist and pioneer in bioidentical hormone therapy and functional medicine. Dr. Hall shares her 4 decades of experience helping patients navigate menopause and beyond, using personalized hormone treatment, nutrition, peptide therapy, and holistic lifestyle approaches. Together, we explore the concept of health age versus chronological age and how mindset, purpose, and self-talk shape long-term well-being. This conversation is about aging with agency, not slowing down, but supporting our bodies and outlook to remain strong, joyful, and engaged at every stage of life. First, a little background. Dr. Prudence Hall is passionate about helping women reclaim their health and their lives. From perimenopause to menopause and the challenges along the way, Dr. Hall uses regenerative and integrated medicine to guide women everywhere in rediscovering their energy, vitality, and joy for life. After years as a traditional gynecological surgeon, it was this passion that led her to create the Hall Center in Santa Monica, California, and write her book, Radiant Again and Forever, which helps women understand what's happening to their bodies and become empowered as they navigate this transition. With care and compassion, Dr. Hall is here to help you get to the root cause of those frustrating symptoms and reinstate harmony within. Welcome to our program, Dr. Hall.
Oh, Joe, thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Oh, you're very welcome. I'm glad you're here too. I'm looking forward to our conversation. Yeah, let's just jump right in. You've been working in hormone medicine for over 40 years. How did you come to specialize in this area, and what drew you to it initially?
Well, first of all, my kids say, don't say 40 years. You sound so
Oh,
old
yeah.
when you say that. I said, yeah, but you're only 20. Don't
Yeah.
worry.
Okay. 20 plus. Yeah.
Yeah, but really, it came out of necessity, Joe. I trained at a wonderful gynecology residency and obstetrical residency at USC at Keck School of Medicine.
Mm.
And I was dealing with the sickest and toughest cases I would say ever presented to
Mm.
gynecologists.
Wow.
These patients came in really destitute, crossing the border from Mexico, no health care at all, and they would end up in our hands. So I thought when I left the residency that I knew everything. I wasn't, it wasn't a hubris, it wasn't a pride. It was just a solid grounding in what I thought was the reality of gynecology.
Mm.
And then I started meeting my menopausal patients. And I was faced with this
Yeah.
huge deficit in my
Wow.
training. I mean, we had a menopausal clinic, and check and make sure they haven't had a period for a year.
Mhm.
Check the FSH, that's the brain hormone that tells us if it's above 20 you're in menopause, below 20 you're not. And if it's above 20, give them Premarin, pregnant mare's urine,
Sure.
for a year, and then see them back in a year. So that's what I did.
Yeah.
And my patients came in weeping and furious.
Oh,
It's like, you're mad at me?
yeah. It didn't do
Okay,
it.
what can I do? So anyway, I went back to school and for years I studied how do women's hormones work? What do they do? What effect do they have on the body? And very rapidly, within a year, I realized, okay, we're changing the whole way I'm doing things with
Mm.
menopause. And it just lit me up to
Wow.
see the changes that women went through. Rather than crying and upset and angry, they felt literally, they felt younger again and healthier and vital. Their
Yeah.
sexuality was
Yeah.
improved and restored. Their positive thoughts were restored. So I'm in it for life.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
love this field.
So time to rethink the whole traditional approach. And many people still think hormone therapy is only about menopause symptoms. So how's the field evolved and what
Wow.
broader roles do hormones play?
Yeah, I'm not sure if the field has really evolved
Uh,
completely where I would like to see it. But for 20, 25 years, maybe even 30 years, I've been saying, look, hormones decrease heart disease,
mm,
dementia like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. They decrease diabetes and strokes. And, there was this huge ocean of pushback against that, where I was actually sanctioned by the medical board because I was supposed to say it causes it prevents bone
mm,
loss and it prevents symptom control. Now, luckily, about a month ago, the black box warning was removed from hormones. And the black box warning said, yeah, it causes heart disease, dementia, on and
mm,
on. It's terrible stuff, but terrifying women. So, that's really great. I was actually on TV talking about it, and
mm,
that's great that it was removed. It's about 20 years late, and women are still afraid of breast cancer. And
mm.
no one wants to hurt their health by making themselves feel better. So, but this is refreshing. I
Sure.
think the field is catching up with the scientific data.
Yeah.
I'm very grateful for that. And
Well,
it it's now being considered and accepted in vital
well,
treatment in many fields. In many areas of
uh,
medicine.
yeah, beyond. So what was the pushback about? I appreciate people who kind of stand up to tradition, say,
Yeah.
let's look at something else about it. What was the pushback from the medical community about?
Yeah. Well, first of all, individualized healthcare is not considered standard of care.
Hmm.
You do not individualize things. There's a protocol that you follow.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
follow that protocol.
yeah.
And I was redefining menopause.
Hmm.
Perimenopause starts at age 35 or 38, something like that. No one considered that that was even a possibility.
Hmm.
So, I was on Oprah Joe and Dr. Phil and all
Yeah,
of these
yeah,
shows as a
yeah.
really sincerely educating and wanting the public to know the benefits that I had been experiencing with my patients for,
Hmm.
at least 10 years before that. And it was early. Pioneers have
Hmm.
arrows in their back. I was daring
Yeah.
greatly, as
Oh,
Brene
sure.
Brown
Yeah, yeah,
says.
yeah, yeah.
And
Hmm. Hmm.
the field of medicine is very conservative, and I like to say that it's scientific based. But one of my friends who actually died of a glioblastoma had companies around the world. And when he developed this glioblastoma, he said, Prudence, if medicine progresses like I'm experiencing right now in the medical field at Cleveland Clinic, great clinic, uh, medicine will collapse. My companies would collapse if I even began to have this lag in from science to
Hmm.
application of the scientific principles.
Sure.
I would not have these businesses.
Yeah,
Medicine is so far behind the IT field. He was in the
yeah,
IT field,
yeah,
and we got to change it. Now he
yeah,
did die of melanoma.
yeah.
Not of a melanoma, a glioblastoma,
Hmm.
but that was great
Hmm.
as way to live and to help transform and bring the medical field up to the degree of I would say competence that the IT field is in. And
Hmm.
I hope we can do that, Joe.
Sure. It takes time, but I think you're right. I think we are progressing. So you've described hormones as kind of software for the body. How do you How do you mean that, and how does that apply in practice?
Right. So, how does the body work? How does it run? Well, we need food, we need water, we need sleep, and the chemicals that make the cells function correctly are hormones and then also enzymes. So, if we don't have enzymes, we're going to really get sick. We
Hmm.
won't digest our food. Enzymes do almost everything in the body, also. And hormones will specifically beat our heart, connect our neurons, connect our brain cells. It builds muscle mass, bone density. It guides the body. It creates it's the janitors in the body, for
Hmm.
example.
Hmm.
It's the it does all the bodily functions. So just like when you boot up your computer, you have to have software that's not
Sure.
corrupted, or else there are a bunch of lines across the
Yeah.
computer.
Yeah. The operating system. Yeah.
The operating system, it's our operating system. And
Hmm.
when that becomes corrupted or deficient, well, the cells don't work. The body doesn't work. And that's why these diseases start occurring right at menopause and before.
Hmm.
So, huge increase in breast cancer, heart disease. Heart attacks are the number one cause of death in women. And
Wow.
in my practice of 40,000 or something patients, I've had 4 women have a heart attack. They're all alive, they're all well.
Yeah.
How can, now, of course, I talk about lifestyle and diet, and it's not just hormones, but hormones are a tremendous benefit to get the body functioning correctly and to help
Hmm.
prevent, the LDL cholesterol from going up, the sugar, the inflammation, the stress, all of those go up in menopause. And
Hmm.
those are the core root causes
Yeah.
of most chronic disease.
So the inference is that the hormones drop off, right? Or there's fewer hormones or less present, they're less present. Is that with age or?
Yes, with age and illness. So when I think about when I think about aging, I don't really think about the chronological age. Yes, let's live to 100 chronologically.
Hmm.
But let's be biologically 40, or
Sure, sure.
maybe probably more like 40,
Yeah.
35, 40 our entire lives. So yes, as we age chronologically, the hormone levels do decline. In fact, estrogen becomes zero, uh, at menopause, and also the thyroid gland, due to
Hmm.
toxicity and due to the other hormonal interactions, declines.
Hmm.
The body is extremely stressed when we lose our estrogen. And when men lose testosterone, by the way,
Uh-huh.
Joe,
Uh-huh.
very stressed. And so then the adrenal glands, which are little glands that sit on top of the kidneys, those decline. And so you have
Hmm.
a pan, meaning a full across deficiency in our operating system.
Hmm.
We don't operate well. We're
Okay.
tired. We're depressed.
Okay.
We can't sleep. We don't want to make love. We
Hmm.
have no energy. Where's the energy?
Hmm.
Where's that essential, beautiful radiance of energy that you talk about, and which gives rise to purpose and a meaningful life?
Yeah. And it makes us more vulnerable to other infection, disease processes, I should say. How about the cognitive function? What is there a relationship between hormone decline and, cognitive impairment?
Absolutely. And that is something that's being investigated extensively in this field.
Yeah.
I think the leader in this field is Dr. Dale Bredesen. He wrote
Yes.
the book, The End of Alzheimer's Disease, and he has a new book out about all the survivors of Alzheimer's disease. And I love this man. He
Hmm.
is icon in his field. He's been both loved and vilified, uh,
Okay.
as many pioneers are, but he has conclusively shown that estradiol, and he's told me this personally, that estradiol is critical for the brain's functioning, and testosterone is critical for men's brains functioning. So you want to prevent Alzheimer's disease? Well, rebalance your hormones to youthful levels,
Hmm.
decrease your sugar, exercise more, get 8, 9 hours of sleep. I mean, there are many things, many supplements that also help to
Hmm.
resuscitate mitochondria. That's the powerhouse, little vesicles in each cell that create all the power.
Hmm.
So it is preventable and it is curable. Our brain starts to decline as early as 30. So we
Yeah.
want to really jump on this bandwagon early and make sure our hormones are balanced. This is one reason, Joe, that I don't like the birth control pill,
Hmm.
because it really hurts our hormones. It hurts the hormones of young women.
Hmm. Well, so the whole notion of hormone deprivation or decline and how it might produce dementia or Alzheimer's. I take it this is as you said, a reversible, it's a modifiable risk factor. It's not like some other neurodegenerative disease where the neural pathways are clouded with, you know, all this precursors, the tau and the amyloid plaque. So this is different from that, right? I mean, this is, or is it?
It's the same. So at a certain point, tau in plaquing does occur.
Hmm,
So plaquing is the result of a brain insult and inflammation in the brain and toxicity in the brain.
hmm,
So tau is created, and plaquing is the hallmark of Alzheimer's disease.
sure, sure.
So right across the board, hormones decrease all neurodegenerative diseases. Now, that's just a little bit of an exaggeration, but
Hmm,
really it'll help to prevent Parkinson's, of course, Alzheimer's disease, Lewy body disease. These are really ALS
yeah,
because these have core root causes
yeah.
of toxicity, low hormones, and all these lifestyle things. There is a genetic component
Hmm,
to Alzheimer's disease
hmm.
and possibly
Yeah.
to some of these other diseases, but we can overcome our genetics. We are not our genes.
Excuse me. I like to turn the audio off when I'm coughing. Yeah, that's so interesting. I've really been kind of understanding this whole notion of reversible dementia, and then there are the true, like I said, neurodegenerative causes of Alzheimer's and vascular. But as you say, the hormone decline will interrupt that whole progression of the Alzheimer's onset. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
That is one of the newest messages coming out.
yeah.
And it's being suppressed, actually,
Yeah.
it's being suppressed by a number of different organizations who have
Mm,
perhaps a different set of criteria that
mm,
they
mhm,
talk to their
mm.
constituents about. But yes, I mean that's a message that's now been out here for maybe 15 or 20 years.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's really in the forefront because there are all these survivors of
uh,
Alzheimer's disease and neurodegenerative decline that really couldn't function, and now they're functioning. They're driving, they're working, they're back
mm,
to normal. It's
sure,
a
sure.
miracle, Joe. It
Yeah,
really is. And I think that this is the
yeah,
field opening up into greater potential for human lives. We
yeah,
don't develop Alzheimer's disease and any neurodegenerative decline if we're living to 100. We
sure.
really want to have a youthful, pliable brain.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so useful. I mean, that's really great. I know there are other reversible causes like diabetes and hearing loss and toxins in the air and secondhand smoke. All of these things are shown to be contributing to dementia, but those are also, like we said, the reversible factors, modifiable risk factors. But this is really great information to share. I always like to be the messenger on this kind of topics. Um, you mentioned the testosterone. Is there a role for testosterone for women? Therapy for women?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And it has been declined by the FDA.
yeah.
Another witch hunt is out there about testosterone. So, testosterone is important for women. Our levels are someplace between 40 and 100, ideally. I don't actually use the traditional lab values for ideal. Those
Mm,
lab values look at a lot of elderly people, sick people. So, I use youthful levels when I look at parameters for labs. And testosterone, generally, it's sort of like 50 to 100, 40 to 100, which is
mhm,
healthy for women. It builds our bones, our muscles, our tendons. It
mm,
helps with directional forward thinking so we don't loop
yeah.
around and going
Really?
over. Yes, yes. It gives us confidence and Joe, it really helps with sexuality.
Yeah,
When Abe Morgenthaler announced, he's the father of testosterone therapy, that he went before the FDA and the FDA declined testosterone therapy. And
yeah.
this is more data than, I mean, like an avalanche of data in terms of
Uh,
testosterone. I stopped making testosterone in the clinic. I gave it all away, and it's been quite a while that I haven't made it now. But I came off of testosterone, and I felt more down. I
Huh.
felt my brain was more foggy. I couldn't have orgasms. It was
Oh,
horrible. And it's like, oh my God,
yeah.
thank you for allowing me personally to experience this.
Well,
I was more frightened, a little bit more, oh, something's gonna. And I got back on testosterone, and all of those symptoms disappeared. And I mean, my patients have been telling me about this for years, but I had always been on it.
yeah.
And I hadn't ever seen what does a deficit feel like. Now, for men, the deficit is even more. I mean, I take care of men, and men, whoa, when their testosterone is low,
Hmm.
they really decline.
But it has the same effect or very similar effects, whether it's for men or women. And when the treatment is or testosterone is taken, it serves the same role for both genders.
Yeah, yeah. So men develop belly fat. They're
Mm,
grumpy. They have a
mm,
lot more negative thinking.
mm,
They lose their muscle mass. They lose their erections. Men tell me all the time,
mm,
I don't know what's
mm,
happening. Just, these erections just are not what I'm used to. And I mean, I kind of don't think about sex like ever. Even
yeah,
32, they'll say, yeah, I mean, am I gay? I'm not thinking about women. What's going on? Oh, Prudence,
mm,
I'm frightened.
yeah.
I
Well,
used to these big deals, these multi-million-dollar deals. I'm feeling, a little bit like I shouldn't be doing that. And then men are
yeah,
back in the saddle. Oh my God, Joe.
yeah.
They show up building muscle mass, going to the gym,
Mm.
feeling positive, defending women rather
Right.
than
So
criticizing us.
very powerful effects. All right. Yeah, and
Very
that's
powerful.
confirming what I've heard and have already kind of understood. Well, let's talk a little bit more about lifestyle and where does lifestyle come into play? We know that it's so important as we age and our cognition and our overall functioning. How does it interact with hormones? And I mean, do one complement the other, and how does that work?
Oh, I consider lifestyle front and center to any therapy.
Mm,
So you can give women and men hormones if they don't exercise, sleep, and eat in a manner that's healthy for
mm,
them.
mm.
The hormones are going to have much less of an effect.
Oh,
So
interesting. So they
really,
complement. Yeah.
yeah, the core of functional medicine, even though it's Jeff Bland, the father of functional medicine, really changed the way I practice and thousands of doctors practice.
Yeah.
Hmm. Front and center is nutrition. So when I started doing all these classes in functional medicine, and uh, a lot of times they would just say, just change the diet. That's all you have to do. And I could not believe how
Mm,
changing the diet
sure.
got rid of or decreased body pain, depression,
Yeah. Yeah.
weight gain. So
Yeah.
yeah, front and center is lifestyle.
Yeah.
8 to 9 hours of sleep, decrease the toxicity in your body by eating clean,
Mm,
decrease sugar, simple carbohydrates,
mm,
eat meat, which is okay, clean, pasture-raised beef, pasture-raised eggs,
mm.
enough protein.
Yeah.
It is anti-inflammatory diet. That's what I call it. It's the functional medicine diet.
Sure. Sure. Does it replace or substitute hormone therapy? I mean, is it sufficient?
No,
No.
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 But we talk about decreasing ovarian decline. So
Mm,
we don't want the ovaries to go into a premature
mm,
deficient state. And I take care of a lot of women who do. And I think that stress plays a big role in this, toxicity, our increased sugar in our diet.
mm,
We eat
mm.
a lot of sugar.
Yeah.
Um, the more sugar and refined carbohydrates we eat, the more the cells get covered with sugar. We call that glycation.
Mm,
It's candied apple. I mean, apple's in there, but it's covered by sugar. And
wow.
that causes decreased cellular function. And also, these powerhouse inclusion parts of the cell, the mitochondria, can decrease with unhealthy aging. So we want to keep
Mm,
those cells
mm,
alive and
mm.
functioning and very healthy. And so diet and lifestyle really play a
Mm.
huge role with that, and
Yeah.
also hormones. So it's a cocktail.
Yeah. So we can change our lifestyle, improve our activity and physical exercise and diet and engagement with others. That doesn't reduce the need for hormone therapy.
Yes. Regardless of how healthy you live, how wonderful your thoughts are, positive
Yeah.
your thoughts are,
Yeah.
and how many wonderful deeds you do for humanity,
Yeah.
hormones will decline.
Okay.
And
Okay.
they absolutely decline in everyone. You don't want them to decline too prematurely. So
Yeah.
that's one of the ways that we can use functional medicine to
Yeah.
help support
Yeah.
our cellular health.
Yeah.
But yes, it declines in everyone. And
Okay.
it's younger now.
Mm,
Menopause is now 44 to about 48, not 50, 51, 52, 53
mm,
like to be
mm,
4 decades ago.
mm,
Earlier, I certainly see, the sperm count in men is decreasing a lot, I think, due to stress
mm,
and toxicity. I
Wow.
see a lot more younger men who are 38, 40, who have very low testosterone due to stress,
Sure.
other factors.
Sure. So the lifestyle changes are necessary, but they're not sufficient. Can we say that?
I would say that that is very correct.
Okay. Okay. It's one of my,
Mm.
yeah, in fact, both. I mean, hormones are necessary, but not sufficient. The lifestyle is also part of the picture. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, if I had to choose one, I'm not sure that I could. I mean, it
Oh,
would just change your lifestyle. I would say that right now we should all change our lifestyle and make it a healthy, healthy lifestyle. That's amazing to do that. Get enough
okay.
minerals. I mean, the thyroid, for example. You want to improve your thyroid function? 3 Brazil nuts a day, and that has 200 micrograms of selenium in it, and then
Mm,
some iodine. That that's lifestyle,
mm,
because that's eating more sea plants and things like
sure.
that, taking more iodine sources, that alone will help your thyroid function much better.
Yeah.
And avoid fluoride in your toothpaste because fluoride bromide, that'll block thyroid function.
Mm,
And take some omega-3, that really helps with everything.
hmm
So yeah, I mean it's a complex
hmm
matrix that we're dealing
Sure.
with. There's
Sure.
no one simple solution,
Yeah.
but you want health, gut health. You,
Yeah.
you want to have a healthy gut. You want to have a
Yeah.
detoxified body.
hmm Sure. And the message is there. We need both. We need both. And we really should focus on all aspects of health. I mean, we know so much now about living
Yeah,
longer and living healthier, and lifestyle is one of the big ones, right? Yeah.
huge, Joe.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. Yeah. It's
all
there.
the way
Yeah.
to the outer the
Yeah.
outer planets and back. That's how important it is.
So what innovations are you excited about? What do you see on the horizon where we're going to be able to have a greater impact on our health?
That is such a good thing to ponder.
Hmm.
I would say that there's an exploration of consciousness that hasn't been
Hmm.
really explored enough, and answers are not there.
Hmm.
But at the very core root of this being and these beings that we are is consciousness.
Hmm.
That's how we differ from other animals. And for us to be able to consciously change our body just by our thoughts, which we know we can do. I mean, this happens all the time. To
Sure.
really understand the process a little bit better, that would be a huge innovation, a huge way where we could I would say, alter different parts of our body that become sick
Yeah.
and heal those parts and keep ourselves well.
Hmm.
So that's right where I am. I
Yeah.
mean, how do our thoughts affect us?
Hmm.
How does love really
Hmm.
regenerate
Hmm.
and prevent disease and death? Um,
Yeah. That's that's a fascinating subject. Maybe I can invite you back and we can continue that conversation. But it's that consciousness that connects everything, right? And we're connected to this universe. It's part of the epigenetics field, right? Understanding how our environment can affect us too, because of our thoughts and the way we connect with the environment. Yeah, that's very powerful. Very powerful. Yeah.
yeah, it really can help with, it can move us forward
Mm.
to enter maybe a more tender or more true purpose for ourselves.
Mm.
And it takes us away from self-criticism and self-hatred, and
Yeah.
of course spills out onto the rest of humanity.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, we're at a real stage of growth in terms of humanity,
Yeah.
in terms of what is our potential? Who can we actually be for each other and for ourselves?
Yeah. Well, that's true. I think that's great. I think you and I both are working beyond the usual retirement age, and I wonder what keeps you moving, what motivates you, and what brings a spark to your day.
Well, chronologically, I'm 75.
Uh,
I'm a 75-year-old Leo in both Vedic and American astrology now, but just
mm,
75. So that's a chronological age. My hormones are about age 30, 35 to 40.
mm,
I have no diseases. So it's not only this feeling of well-being inside of me that creates well-being, joy, sensuality, love, wanting to be in service to humanity because I have so much energy and enthusiasm for what's possible. It comes out of that positive well. Um, so I would say that it's how I see the transformation of my patients
mm,
who go from despair to joy or
mm,
from despair to hope. In the beginning, first couple of months is from despair and from depletion and fatigue to hopefulness. Now, hope can really be very inspiring. And
sure.
then from hope to a greater sense of themselves, not only physically, but also knowing who they are. I love to have these conversations. Who
Mm,
are we? Who am
mm,
I?
yeah,
And
yeah,
and
yeah. And who
I
can
think that the change because Joe,
mm,
once we feel full of life, life blesses us with her bounty.
mm,
And women climb mountains, write books, start schools in underprivileged areas. They give back, they love. I mean, one person who loves and gives
mm,
can change everything in
yeah,
that
yeah,
community and household. So
mm,
it's the gentle and radical change that I see in my patients.
yeah, patience.
And
Yeah,
I really love them, Joe.
yeah,
I'm behind them. I want
yeah,
them
yeah,
to
yeah,
become the person that they know they are and they used
yeah,
to be, maybe
yeah,
even a different person.
yeah.
I'm kind of a cheerleader and I'm an interpreter of their hormones and of their
Mm,
help give them feedback. And it's
mm,
just, I love it, Joe.
mm.
I love it.
Yeah, I think that's great. I have similar feelings when I speak to seniors about the opportunities that lie ahead rather than decline. There's really doors to open and new chapters. I'd love to see the changes in that attitude about aging, and you're talking about something very similar, the changes in your patients as they kind of remove those barriers and open up new talents and new possibilities. I think that's beautiful. Yeah, yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
It's also an intellectual field. It's also scientific. So, the mind is active,
Mm,
learning all the time. I think lifelong learning is important for all of us
mm,
because if we're not growing and learning and
mm.
embracing change,
Yeah.
we're declining.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So tell us about your website and where can people learn more about your work and get your book, copy of your book.
They're going to see this podcast that you do and
Yeah, that's right.
all the rest of them that you do. So you can reach me at thehallcenter.com.
Hmm.
My book there, Radiant Again and Forever, is for free. You just
Hmm.
put your email in and it downloads to your email. And Suzanne Summers encouraged me to write this book, actually strong-armed me to write
Huh.
this. She'd interviewed me many times and I've been in her books. I absolutely loved
Yeah,
her very, very
yeah,
much. And she said, you got to write the book.
yeah.
Write the book. She's
Hmm.
very smart. She was a I
Yeah,
said, Suzanne, I don't have time.
she did well as a motivator, didn't she? Yeah, yeah, yeah,
She
yeah,
did. And she
yeah,
said, okay, this is what you do. Each
yeah,
chapter is a different illness for women, menopause, perimenopause, low thyroid,
yeah,
low adrenals, and then, end up with some potential of
yeah.
women. It's like, oh, I
Right.
can do that. She said, bring women into your consult room and just tell them
Hmm.
what happens to a patient. So I did that. And
Hmm.
when she gave me that structure, it just flowed forth. It was
Yeah,
easy.
yeah,
She wrote
yeah,
the book. It's free.
yeah, yeah.
Free. I don't, I'm not trying to,
When,
I want
once, sorry.
change.
Once we have the container, it's easy to fill it up, isn't it? That's how I see it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
It
yeah,
is.
that's great. So thehallcenter.com. People can learn more about you and your work and download a copy of your book. That's great. Yeah. Well, Dr. Hall, it looks like our time has come to an end here, and thank you for sharing your insights and expertise. And for listeners who like to learn more about your work, they can visit thehallcenter.com And to the audience, thanks for spending part of your day with us. If you'd like to continue exploring the upsides of aging, visit my website, livingto100.club, for blogs and podcasts and articles, livingto100.community for live interactions and roundtables every month, and then my online store, livingto100.solutions. You'll find a bunch of materials and products and card decks and all that. So thanks again, Dr. Hall, and thanks to our audience for tuning in. Living longer is becoming the norm, but living better is the opportunity. Okay,
Beautifully said. Thank you,
thank
Joe.
you. You're very welcome.